Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of All Now with Alex podcast. I'm your host, of course, Alex. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Sir Frank Cooper. How you doing today, sir?
Absolutely wonderful. How are you, Mr. Alex?
I'm doing blessed. I cannot complain at all. So let the people know, just a quick little background about yourself, and then we're going to get going.
Okay. My name is Sir SIR Frank Cooper. If anybody out there knows Beyonce and Jay-Z, please let them know that you met the original Sir. That name was given to me 70 years ago in Birmingham, Alabama, where I was born. So I am the original Sir. My father gave that name to me, not because I was a hip hopper, because it didn't exist then, but he gave that name to me because he said, people will respect you whether they want to or not. Your first name shall be Sir. Because back then, black men got no respect. You were never referred to as Sir. You were never referred to as Mr. You was referred to as, from the time you were born up until you were about 35, you were known as boy or just come here. And from 35 up, you were known as a black man as just uncle this and uncle that. So he said, whether they want to or not, your first name shall be Sir. And it's not just because you got the name that you'll get respect. You have to earn that respect. And I've been doing that for 70 years, trying to earn that respect.
Well, hey, you definitely got my respect. I can tell you that much.
Well, brother, I appreciate that. Mr. Alex, I appreciate that. From one Alabamian to another one, I do appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it off. So, can you share the story of how your encounter with Beverly Muse led to the creation of the AAhAs?
The AAhAs.
Oh, aha. Okay,
Yes,
okay,
the AAhAs.
okay,
And
okay.
it is the acronym for the African American Humor Award Society.
Mhm.
And Beverly Muse, I met Beverly Muse through a friend. I was homeless at the time and I was staying with a friend. This friend of hers had gone to Hawaii and she needed somebody to watch her place for 2 weeks. So Beverly asked me if I would go there and stay there. And I said, okay, I would. And Beverly also had connections to a man named Michael Williams, the first black comedy club owner in LA. And she connected me to Michael, and I started working for Michael at his club, at his first black comedy club, and things took off from there. That's how I got to know Beverly, and that's how I kind of got into the comedic field.
Okay, okay. Pretty interesting. So, what was the driving force behind your decision to establish the AHAs, and then also what impact did you hope to achieve?
Well, before I met Beverly, I was like I say, I was homeless, and things kind of I was homeless in LA for almost a year, a little over half a year or something like that. And I was looking for a job. I was living out of my car. Instead of living out of my car in the ghetto, my father used to tell us all the time, if you want something, you surround yourself around things that you want, and that way it will motivate you to go and try to get it. Well, instead of me living out of the ghetto in LA, I decided I was going to live out of my car in Beverly Hills. So I would go and park my car in Beverly Hills at night and I'd sleep. And early in the mornings, when I heard the garbage trucks and the movement going around, I'd get up and take the car to the park and wash up, jump on a bus, go look for a job. Well, the first job I got, it was at Jacqua Lane European Health Spas after I begged this man to let me be his cleanup man. Well, I started doing that job and saving a little money and trying to get some money together to get an apartment. And after then is when I met Beverly. I met Beverly, and that's when she told me about her friend, and I started doing that. And then I met Michael Williams, and things just kind of, after seeing and meeting all these people and working at the spa, I started meeting all these different celebrities because after I started cleaning, I only did that for 2 days. And on the third day, aerobics was taking off. It was beginning to be real hot. And after 2 days of working at Jack Lane, he came to me in a panic and said, hey, I got 25 women in this room and my aerobic instructor didn't show up to teach a class. Can you dance? And I said, of course. How many black men you know can dance? So he said, well, go in that room and just teach these women whatever you want. I said, I don't know a damn thing about aerobics, So he said, "Can as long as you can dance, find some records, put on some records on that record player, and just jam, exercise these people for 1 hour. I don't care what you do, as long as you make them sweat, I'm good." So I went out there and found some records, man, and hey, we started jamming, and we jammed for an hour and a half instead of 1 hour. And the next day, he came to me and he said, "Nobody wants the old teacher; they want you to teach them." And I started teaching aerobics, and my life kind of started changing then. And after I started making a few dollars, then I got my own place, and I started working for Michael Williams, and things just took off from there. So after meeting so many celebrities in the spa, and all these black celebrities was coming in complaining about, this show got an award, that show got an award, the Golden Globes, the Oscars, the Grammys, the Emmys, but all our shows has been on TV for 4 and 5 years, and we've never been recognized by way of an award show. And it got me thinking. Now, I've never drank, never smoked, never got into drugs, nothing like that, but I meditate a lot. When things are on my mind, I meditate. When there's something I want to do, I sit down in a room called my closet, dark, and I just concentrate on what it is that I want to do. And I came up with the idea of creating the first award show for minority comedians. And with the help of another friend of mine, after bouncing the idea around, we came up with, we were running some names, the African American, the African this, the African that, and we came up with the African American Humor Award Society, and we realized that the beginning of every word was the acronym for the AAhAs, and it took off from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's, a lot of things you go in life is like you can tell when something is just meant to be, and that's one of those things where it's just like meant to be because it lined up too perfectly. So
absolutely, yeah. It sure did. It really did. Yeah. And then after we came up with the name, I concentrated on a slogan and an image of what I wanted the AAhAs to look like. And if you can see behind me, this is our slogan and our logo. The slogan reads, "The AAhAs, the laughter has no color, so smile." And when I came up with that slogan, I was like, oh man, this is just too doggone perfect. Yeah. And I put it down and I said, I got to get this patent. So I actually own the slogan and the logo to the AAhAs.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. Do you have any merchandise?
Yes, we have hats, we have t-shirts, we have buttons. We are going to go hopefully into mass production of all these things within the next 8 to 9 months. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've run out of some of the merchandise that we've had. But yes, there will be merchandise for people to purchase. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because I know I would like to get one myself. Just looking at it, you know what I mean.
Well, I will tell you, brother. It's the slogan is universal. The logo is universal as well. It's a smiling face with the features of a black person, and the slogan "Laughter has no color, so smile." It pertains to everything. Everybody in the world smiles. Everybody in the world finds something to laugh at. So that's one thing that we as human beings have in common with everybody, right. And including the colors to the AAhAs. As you can see, it's red, black, gold, and a stripe of green. And each one of those colors represent everything that we as humans share with each other, anything that's living on earth. The darkness, it comes from, all life come from darkness. The red represents the blood that runs through our veins. The gold represent all the minerals that come from the earth: gold, diamond, rubies, pearls, oil. And the green represents what we all need to live, and that is to breathe from the oxygen from the trees. So it all comes hand in hand. I'm telling you, all that stuff came to me through meditation.
Yeah. Well, that's one good thing about meditation. You get to isolate yourself and really just focus on your own thoughts and focus on what it is that you're trying to achieve, without other people bothering you or without your phone going off and doing this and doing that. You know what I mean? You have time to really just truly focus on.
It's connecting with the universe from within is what we call it. Yes, absolutely.
So, how does the AAhAs aim to celebrate and promote diversity in the entertainment industry?
Well, what we have done with the AAhAs over the years, 2021, we celebrated our 30th anniversary here in Las Vegas at the Luxor Hotel. And this was the first time that we honored a non-minority by way of a Lifetime Achievement Award. And that Lifetime Achievement Award was given to a man named Jay Leno of The Tonight Show, because Jay Leno had done so much to enhance Black comedians and minority comedians' careers. We thought that it would be fitting for us to honor him. So he was our first non-minority comedian that we ever honored, and that was 2021. So moving forward, what we're going to do is we're gonna treat the AAhAs like the Oscars and the Grammys treat everybody else. The majority of the recipients of this particular trophy here, the AAhAs, the majority of the recipients at our award show is going to be minorities, be it Asians, Blacks, Hispanics, Indians, you name it, whoever's in the comedy. We will sprinkle some white folk in, just like they do us at the Oscars. You know, every Oscar, they have most of the white people are the winners, but then they'll throw in a Black or an Indian or somebody else to make it look like it's diverse. Well, we're going to do the same thing.
Right.
And that's our goal.
Okay. Just curious. So can you share like some of the challenges that you faced in bringing your vision to life for the AAhAs?
Oh my God. Some of the challenges, okay. Finding the money to finance that first show, which cost me a little over $500,000 32 years ago. Now, that was 32 years ago, okay?
Right.
It took me a year and about 3 months to pull all that money together, from raking leaves, cleaning toilets, cleaning 7-Elevens, cleaning parking lots. And there are some other things that I did, but you have to look at the bio to find that out. I'm not going to tell you that. There's a bio that's about my life, and it is playing on Amazon Prime. And the title is called Laughter Has No Color. So if you go to Amazon Prime or Bit TV, you can pull it up and you can see my whole life story. And you'll see some of the other things that I did to get monies together to pull that together. That was a challenge, pulling the money together. The other challenge was getting people to take me serious, to come to the award show and receive this award that we were giving out. And that particular night, we had about 110 award trophies to give out. And we only gave out about 60, 50, maybe 60. And at that particular award show was legendary comedians that we honored. Dick Gregory, the great Paul Mooney, LaWanda Page, Marla Gibbs, Flip Wilson, Rudy Ray Moore, Skillet and Leroy. All these names that you may not have heard of, or you may have, I know your parents have. But we went way back. Eddie Murphy, okay? Whoopi Goldberg, we honored her. These were two people that was back then, they were hot and young and up and coming. So they received the Young, Hot, Up and Coming AHA Award for being young and starting out in the business. Well, now look at what they turned into. And this was for anybody had ever honored them. We had already done that. And believe it or not, those two people that I just mentioned, Whoopi and Eddie, they didn't send anybody to pick up their trophies. And right to this day, here it is 32 years later, I still have their trophies that we gave to them 32 years ago in my house right now.
Yeah, that's, it would have been, it would have been, you think you ever reconnect, or you think you ever connect with them and possibly, get that opportunity to.
We've been trying. We've been reaching out. We've been trying all kinds of avenues. I've tried to contact The View all kinds of ways to let them know that Whoopi has a trophy that she's never picked up for being a young, hot, up-and-coming comedian. Nobody never knew she would turn into what she is now. And I'll tell you something else, too. Did you ever get a chance to see a movie that came out about 4 years ago called My Name is Dolomite? It was a movie put out by Netflix. Eddie Murphy played the starring role.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Eddie played the role of a hellacious Black comedian back in the day. It was his life story. And that story, that movie was about the makings of that man's first album. And it was Rudy Ray Moore's first album. He was better known to the public as Dolomite. Okay. Well, when Netflix came out with that movie, They had no idea that album, the first album that had been made 50 years prior to the movie, that album had gone gold. And they didn't know that album had gone gold until I told them. And they couldn't believe me. And I said, well, the album went gold. And the guy said, well, how do you know? I said, because the man himself told me at the award show when we honored him and gave him his trophy. All these legendary comedians that I told you about a while ago, Rudy Ray Moore, Richard Pryor, Flip Wilson, Dick Gregory, all these people got together. They threw a dinner in my honor. And at that dinner, Rudy Ray Moore, better known as Dolomite, presented that gold album that they made the movie about to me. And believe it or not, here it is, that gold album.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
And they had no idea that this album existed. And I've had this album now going on 35 years.
Oh wow.
And so we go way back. We have a very rich history. Sinbad was a recipient of ours. Debbie Allen, the one that used to produce and starred on so many shows, Flashdance and all that, we honored her as well. So we go way back. We have a very deep history.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, man, like just knowing all that history and it's great to see things like that. You know what I mean? Especially in the Black community, because
Absolutely.
a lot of times we don't support each other like we should. We always think somebody owes the next person something. I mean, it's pretty bad. A lot of things in our community. So to see something like this definitely, definitely hits home. So
to give you an idea of what we're talking about when we're talking about Black history and Black legacies, the comedy genre is very rich with Black history. I mean, there are so many white comedians who have copied off of Black comedians and made it big. To give you an example, we honored the Arsenio Hall show, which was a groundbreaking show for late night TV. He was the first Black man to have a late night TV show. He received an AAhA award. We also honored Keenan Ivory Wayans with another groundbreaking show on TV called In Living Color.
I remember that.
Yeah, you got me? So we have honored people that deserve it because we are doing everything we can to keep our legacy alive. Because as you can see, as of today, everybody's doing everything they can to erase our Black history and our Black roots. So if we don't start preserving that and talking about what it is that we've done, then people will forget who in the hell we are. And before you know it, they'll be telling you that little Johnny created such and such and such. Little Johnny did this. Little Johnny did that. And before you know it, our grandkids grow up thinking that all these things were invented and produced by white people.
Yep.
They wouldn't know their legacy because there's nobody out there talking about it.
Yeah, or they'll never know that their album went gold.
Absolutely, they would have never known that album went gold until I told them. And when they saw it, they couldn't believe it. They were like, "Do you realize how much money you had hanging on your wall in the last 30 years?" I said, "No, it's not about money for me." So now what I do, I keep it in a safe. I keep it locked up. Yeah, and I just went to the bank today to pull it out just so I could bring it to the house to show you.
I appreciate that.
Well, absolutely. Piece of history. It's Black history.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always for any kind of Black history that you can learn, especially in the comedic world, because it's nowadays it seems like it's starting to get more, this person doesn't like this person or this person.
It's getting toxic.
Yeah,
toxic. Yes.
And to hear some good history, about it is definitely good to hear. So speaking of comedy and comedians, what role do you feel like humor and laughter plays in fostering unity and breaking down barriers?
Humor has been used by the Black community to get social issues out in front. It's like giving a kid medicine for a cold. Well, if you give a kid bitter medicine, they're going to be reluctant in taking that medicine. But if you put some sugar in that doggone medicine, he's more than likely to take it. And that's what comedy is. Comedy is the sugar of the social ills from the Black perspective to America. Because through comedy, a lot of people don't know this, but Dick Gregory was the first Black man to seriously put his bid in for becoming the president of the United States. Dick Gregory attacked a lot of social ills about America concerning Black people through comedy because it was easier to tell the truth in a joking manner and have people think about what they said and what he said, as opposed to you hitting them upside the head with true reality that they wouldn't want to take. So comedy has been used and continued to be used to address social ills. A case in point, a brilliant comedian right now, his name is Dave Chappelle.
Oh yeah, I love
And
that.
Dave Chappelle is on the LBQ UTQ community. All right. But the way he attacked those issues is through comedy. And he's telling the truth about everything that he's saying. But when he put a comedic spin on it, it's a lot easier for people to digest. And that's why he's been able to do the things, say the things that he's been able to do and say.
Yeah.
Through
And not
comedy.
only that, even Dave Chappelle, that's like one of my all-time favorites, because I remember watching all his episodes and thinking back to the racial draft.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? When each race had to draft a person, you know what I mean? Then he did a trade. He traded Condoleezza Rice for somebody, for Tiger Woods, or you know what I mean? Like just stuff like that he did in his skits. It was so funny, but yet it made you realize certain things.
It made you think.
Mm-hmm.
It made you think about the realities that we are living. Who would you replace a Condoleezza Rice with? Who would you replace a Barack Obama with? You got me? It makes you think. And I will tell you another brilliant comedian. Well, there's a lot of them out there. Right. Monique is another one. She tells the truth and she lays it on the line. And once again, in a comedic form, it's easier to digest. Another fantastic comedian is D.L. Hughley, another truth teller. DL, I have a lot of respect for DL because DL went on a TV show on CNN that was hosted by a white lady named Megyn Kelly. And Megyn Kelly had a racist man on her show, on the same show, and this man's name was Mark Fuhrman. I don't know if you may remember the O.J. Simpson trial or not. I don't know how young you were when that was going on. But Mark Fuhrman was one of the witnesses that was supposed to have been testifying against O.J. And DL chastised this woman on CNN about her bringing Mark Fuhrman on the same show that he was on to talk about Black issues. And ever since then, that man has had my utmost of respect.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, people have to, stop just catering to people. You know what I mean? Because they may have a way in that you don't have. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like there's so much toxicity in the comedic culture. Just from of course, I don't know these people personally, but when you read certain things, you see certain things.
Yes.
See how this person, they sold out to this group of rich people or whatever so that way he can get in the door, but he had to tear down these other Black comedians to be able to do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, see where we excuse me. See where we are now with comedians is this. As a matter of fact, it's something that I addressed on my website yesterday. And if you get a chance, go to It's the AAhAs or theahas.com and you'll see what it was that I had posted. And that was pride, dignity, and respect, PDR. A lot of comedians has lost that. They don't take pride in what it is that they're doing. They have no respect for themselves and no one else. And dignity, they have no dignity about what they're doing, because if they did, they would look at themselves talking about another comedian in a negative way, and they would catch themselves and correct themselves, because it's not about what somebody else is doing in the same field that I'm doing. It's that who does it better. And instead of downing these people about their personal things and all that, uplift these brothers, because they're out there working just like you are. So bring pride, dignity, and respect back. I remember back in the day, Mr. Ronaldo Ray told a joke that Red Fox had told years before. And the way he did it, he said, now I'm going to tell you guys, the joke I'm about to tell, it was told by and written by Red Fox years ago. So I'm kind of just borrowing his joke. But I wanted to let y'all know where the joke came from because I want to give respect to the man that created this joke. And he told the joke and brought the house down. And people respected him for what he did because he gave that respect back to the original joke teller. And that's what comedians are not doing these days.
No, not at all. And then, you would think they would, especially, being in the world of social media, cell phones, and things like
Absolutely.
that. Everything is so recorded, so you can always go back and say, "Oh, I heard that somewhere." And
I heard that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And see, this is what those old heads used to do, man. They would give up that respect. It's called pride, dignity, and respect. When you take pride in something you do and you know you are good at it, you don't mind sharing the spotlight with someone as long as they recognize you for what it is that you did.
Yeah.
There's no reason for any beefs. And like I say, we go way back, man. We were the first organization to honor Steve Harvey. Okay. Steve Harvey on our site is on film saying that this was the first award that he had ever received from anybody back in the day. Okay. And it was for a TV show, his first TV show that he had done. And that show was called Me and the Boys. And it was about a black man raising 3 black sons that lived in Louisiana. And it was a damn good show. But because it was such a positive image for black men, of course, they didn't let it stay on the air that damn long. But it was a damn good show. But we honored that brother for that. And he, on film, on our site, you can go to our site and pull it up, and you will see him thanking us for honoring him for that particular show with our award. So we go way back.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I knew a little bit about Steve Harvey, and things like that, but I didn't never know about the show Me and the Boys.
Yes, it was a very good show, and tell you another piece of trivia. Have you ever heard of a comedian by the name of Flip Wilson?
I've heard the name, but I don't remember where I heard it.
Okay. Flip was known, that was before Richard Pryor, and it was during the Red Fox era and the Dick Gregory era. Flip Wilson was the first black man to own, produce, write, direct, and perform in his own sitcom. He owned it. Okay. This brother was bad. It was a weekly TV show that came on every week. And this man was so popular that people would be waiting for his show to come on. And he had a character in his show called Geraldine. He was one of the first major black cross-dressers on TV. So if you get a chance, when you get through talking to me, go and pull up something on Flip Wilson. The Flip Wilson Show is the name of it. And you'll see some of these very legends that I'm telling you that we honored. You'll see some of those very legends on that show. Oh, yeah. And this is way back in the day.
I definitely will do more research on it for sure.
Right. Yes.
Especially so. How do you go about selecting the people that you're going to honor at the AAhAs?
We have a committee, and it consists of about 14 people. And we sit around and we come up with the different categories that we're going to honor people in. And sometimes we'll honor more than one in one category because there's so many people that's just been overlooked. I mean, when you look at a Tommy Davidson that was in Living Color, man is unbelievably funny. You got me.
My favorite movie with him.
What was it?
It was with him and Jamie Foxx.
Yes. They were playing partners trying to chase his girl down.
Yeah. I can't even remember the name.
Jada Pinkett Smith. Yes.
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith was in that. Absolutely. Okay. Now think about this. As a powerhouse as Jamie Foxx is, all right, Oscar winner, made records, won, I think, Grammys for that or something. In 3 different categories, this brother bad. Acting, comedian, and singer.
Yes. Yes.
Tommy Davis is just as bad. Tommy Davis, comedian, actor, and a singer.
See, I didn't
Tommy
know.
Davis sing jazz. Got a
Okay.
jazz album out.
Okay.
All right. But these are things that people don't know because you see, the powers that be only let one of us in the door one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you are dealing with white folk, you got a whole lot of white men out there that's doing all kinds of things and they get praised for it. But when it comes to us, they let us in one at a time. And see, we are too damn stupid to understand that if we create our own thing, we can recognize ourselves.
Yep.
It's just like the AAhAs. Whenever you hear somebody black who has won an Oscar or a Golden Globe or an Emmy, and they go on a TV show and they being honored or being interviewed, the first words out of their mouth about what award they won is going to be the first three white awards, the Grammys, Emmys, or the People's Choice, one of those awards. They never mentioned that they were honored by BET or the Soul Train Awards, because for some reason we got it stuck in our head that our stuff just ain't good as a white man when we can do this shit better. Now, I'm not speaking from a racial standpoint of view. I'm speaking from a factual point of view. The next time you see somebody do an interview and they start talking about the awards that they've gotten, I guarantee you they're going to name the first three awards are going to be the white awards. Guarantee you, if they got one. And if they got a black one, it's either not going to be mentioned at all or it'll be mentioned after their third award from white people. Yeah. And so we got to get away from that because we are a bad people, man. We are strong, badass people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people can imagine a world where we wasn't in it because we invented so many things, including hip hop, including we have some of the best comedians, the athletes, all the above. So I mean,
every time we get into something, think about this. Mm-hmm. Every time the powers that be allow us to get into a field, I don't give a darn what field is in. You can name it acting, singing, dancing, sports, you name it. Whenever we get a chance to get in that field, we usually dominate. Look how long golf was dominated by white folk. Think about it. Until Tiger Woods came along. Look how long gymnastics were dominated by white folk. And now you got Biles, I think her name is.
Yep.
Okay, one of the baddest Olympics, have won everything you can think of. Mm-hmm. Tennis, Althea Goodwin. I might be pronouncing her last name wrong, but Althea, back in the day, 1950s, was a black tennis player. When they opened the floodgates open and allowed Venus and her sister come in, look at how they dominated. Again, we are a bad people. We can do, if not better, the same thing anybody else can do if given that opportunity. That's right. But the opportunity is just not there for us. Right. It's not easy for us to get that opportunity. Yep. But when we do get it, hey, we dominate. Yep. Simone Biles is her name, the Olympic gymnast. Simone Biles.
Yeah. And yeah, she is, and that's one of the things that that's why we should as a race stick together more and help push each other up more. We do too much, pushing each other down or being negative or we don't like what this person is doing because they might be ahead of me in life and all that. It's like why are we the only race that does that? These other races don't do it. They stick together and they help elevate each other. And next thing you know, it's like, hey, him and everybody that he knows is way up here. Me and all my people are down here. You know what I mean?
Brother, I'm gonna give you the title of a book that I want you to read.
Okay.
It's called The Willie Lynch Letters. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not heard of that book.
Lynch Letters.
But I've heard the name Willie Lynch before.
Okay. You should read that book. And it'll tell you exactly how we come to be how we are toward each other. It's called pretty much Crabs in a Barrel. Okay. And it started with slavery. You had the house Negroes and you had the field Negroes. and the ones in the house thought they were better than the ones in the field.
Right.
And the ones in the field had it easy, had it good. They ate the same thing that master ate, even though it was leftovers. They ate the same thing. They ate good on the hog. We, in the field, we had to eat the chitlins, the hog feet, and the hog tails. All right. They had the ham and the ribs in the house. And that created that divide in us, and it's still going on.
Yep.
And if we only could just come together and realize just how strong we are, look at what we have persevered through within the last 200 years, to the point where is that we, you as well as myself, we have actually witnessed a black man being the president of the United States of America.
Yep.
And his part of his ancestors came from slaves from Africa.
Yep.
Think about that.
Yep. And not one term, but 2 terms.
Absolutely. Not only did he come in and do a damn good job, but he did it so good, white folks said, give him another term. Think about it.
Yep.
That's how bad we are. But we don't realize how bad we are because we are too busy listening to all the negative things about us. And there's so many positive things about us. We're the only ones that can go from slavery. Think about it. And every minority that has lived and come to America has benefited off the backs of our parents and foreparents. Equal rights, including women. Equal rights. Your great-great-grandfather probably marched for equal rights. Okay? Fought for us to have those rights, which paved the way for every other minority that come to this damn country to benefit from those rights that our forefathers fought for. Think about that. That's power.
Yep.
And we changed the system. That is power. And this is what comedy does. Comedy brings reality to a point to where is that people can digest it. It can be the sugar in a bad taste of medicine.
That's right.
So you can digest it, and hopefully it'll percolate through your body, and you'll realize the reality that you just drank. And that's what's important.
Right. I agree. So do you have one particular memorable or impactful moment from every award show possible? What was that one defining moment where you were like, you know what, this is one of the most amazing things in the world? Like, what was that moment for you during a certain AAHA award show?
That moment came to me the night of the first show. And a piece of that moment was captured on film. Once again, if you go to our site, theahas.com, or it's theahas.com, you can pull up a clip and you'll see it. That night, these legends, Dick Gregory, Marla Gibbs, Wanda Page, Skilling Leroy, these people came up to me in tears, thanking me for creating this award show. Dick Gregory went on film and said, tonight was a night that we should never forget, because this young man created this award show. Out of all these years of all these black actors and actresses that's been in sitcoms, has been ignored and overlooked, this young man came up with this idea, and he said, we want to thank him for doing that. And that was captured on film. But as these people came up on that stage to receive the award, they came up with tears in their eyes, and they were literally crying. And that was the most defining moment that I've ever had in my life concerning the AAhAs.
Yeah, and it sounded like a big one too, man. I can imagine, being on that show and getting you doing everything, you giving all the love and support to all these people, and then they showing that love and support back to you at the same time.
Absolutely. And like I say, here it is 32 years later. We still don't have a sponsor. We still can't get anybody to give us any money to keep this thing going. You got me? I'm still doing this stuff out of my own pocket.
Man.
And it's tough. But when you believe in something, and you believe in it not because of the financial rewards, you got me, that is going to bring you, but you believe in it because it's the right thing to do, and because you are preserving history, a part of our legacy. You are not letting it be forgotten. And I'm going to keep fighting until my dying day.
Oh yeah, yeah, as you should. I mean, like you said, it's something that you believe in, something that you are
Absolutely.
passionate about. So you never want to stop fighting or believing in anything like that. I mean, that's that we just got to get enough people on the team to say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. This is an
That's right.
amazing, great thing. We need
Absolutely.
everybody to use it and push it forward and put it in the eyes of everybody in the world. So now, we
Absolutely.
have more eyes on it. We have more people say, hey, I never knew about this, but hey, I want to support this. Uh,
Absolutely.
so over the years, how has the AAhAs evolved, and or do you have any new goals or initiatives that you guys are putting together?
Well, what we have a itinerary that I made up 30 some years ago when I came up with this idea. The goals of the AAhAs is to preserve our legacy and to teach other people about our legacy, to keep this legacy going so it'll never be forgotten. All these legendary comedians, their names won't be forgotten as time progresses. We also have a goal in the future. We want to hopefully get finance to the point where we can build an AHA museum, and we're going to call it'll have the same initials, the AHAs, AAhAs, but it will be called the All American Humor Award Society Museum. And in that museum, we want to have some some things from different major Black TV sitcoms from the 50s and 60s all the way up until today, housed in that museum. We want to have an auditorium to where we can do concerts in this museum. So we have our legs cut out, and we also want to create a fund to where if there are comedians falling on hard times, because we've had a lot of comedians that wind up dying for whatever the reason, and people have had to do GoFundMe's to bury these people. We want to be able to set up a fund to where if a comedian fall on hard times, we can help them make it through, or if they really get to the point where that they are unlived, we can help bury them, with dignity. So those are some of our goals.
Okay, okay, and those are great goals to have. I mean, it just shows people, in my opinion, me just hearing it from you, how
Mhm.
much you really and truly deeply care about the community and helping people, which
Mhm.
anytime people cares about helping people and doing the right thing, you're definitely going to receive your fruits of labor as well. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And see, the important thing about laughter is this:
Mhm.
laughter creates endorphins in the body when you are laughing that can heal certain illnesses
Mhm.
of the body. Okay. It takes more muscles in your face when you make a frown or when you are angry about something, because you have to maintain that posture and those tenseness of your muscles in your face to maintain a frown, than it does for you to make a smile. It takes less muscles in your face to make a smile as
That's right.
opposed to more muscles to tense up.
That's right.
And that's real. So
Yep.
laughter is a healing medicine. The more you laugh, the better you feel. And if you notice, most comedians who are good at their jobs, they live to be 80, 90, 100 years old because of laughter.
Mhm. Yep. I always say laughter is the best medicine. It's one of the things that I always tell people because, me, I'm big on, especially at work, right? So I go to work every day, and I'm big on making people laugh, making people
Absolutely.
smile, things like that. Because when I see it on other people, it just makes me feel internally better. So,
It's
uh,
reciprocal.
yes, yes,
Absolutely. It
yes.
is reciprocal. I'll tell you a true thing about laughter and comedy history. Go way back in the day, all right? One of the most prolific comics back in the day, his name was Burt Williams. He did blackface. You know what blackface is, right?
Mhm.
Are you familiar with blackface?
Ah,
See,
a little
when
bit.
I'm talking to young people, see, I have to ask you that because I don't want you to I don't want to be talking over your head. I don't want you to be thinking that I'm talking over your head. Blackface back in the day, white people used to dress up in blackface and put black chalk over their face and act like black people for comedy. This was a black man that you also used blackface. They paint big white lips around where their lips are and all that to be funny. Okay. Back in the day, have you ever heard the phrase, "Oh, he's a barrel of laughs"? Have you ever heard that phrase?
A barrel of laughs? No.
Yes. Have you ever heard anybody say, "Oh, he's a barrel of laughs"?
Mm-mm.
When they're describing someone?
No,
You know,
I never heard.
if you see a real funny comedian, you'll hear somebody might say, "Oh man, this guy's a barrel of laughs." That phrase actually came from the realities of black people out of slavery. Because back in the day when the Emancipation Proclamation took place, a lot of black people migrated toward the cities to try to find and make a living at feed stores and cow stalls where they would have to clean horses and horse stalls and cow stalls and all that. Well, when all these brothers got together, of course, when you get a bunch of brothers together, somebody in that group gonna be talking a lot of junk, making somebody laugh. You got me? And they would have a good time doing that. Well, in those little towns, they used to have a barrel, a wooden barrel in those towns. And it was actually called a laughing barrel. And when black people told jokes and the brothers would start laughing out loud, they would have to go to the barrel and stick their heads in that barrel to laugh so it wouldn't disturb white people. And that's where that phrase came from.
Mm.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah, that's interesting because I would have never. If I would have heard the term, I would have never knew. I would have just been like, "Why do they call it a barrel?" You know what I mean? I would have thought about it, but I would have never knew. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Until you explained it. So
absolutely, that's where. And this is what we are trying to do with the AAhAs. We want to enlighten our young black people about the history of comedy. You got some comedians out there that don't know who the hell Dick Gregory is.
Yeah.
You got some comedians out there that don't know who Flip Wilson is. They don't know who paved the way for them to be. Rudy Ray Moore produced, directed, distributed, and created his own movies. Not only was he a comedian, but he was a movie star as well, and an actor, and a karate champion. But people don't talk about that. Yeah. These brothers were bad, man. These were some hellacious brothers.
Yeah. I mean, just by you telling me the story, I know I had to do my research because a lot of them I didn't, I wasn't really aware of. A lot of time when you're growing up around, the time that I've been growing up, especially with social media and things like that coming up, who you see.
Absolutely.
If you don't see them or you've never seen video of them or something like that, you don't really know about them unless you find someone like yourself who enlightens you and lets you know, like, okay. And so then you go do your research and then you might find a little bit of information about them online, but that information you would have never found if you hadn't been acknowledged to them in the first place by someone else.
It's very true. Very true. I think your battery pack has gone out or something. I don't see you right now. Your battery pack is going out.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you this question and let you go ahead while I'm fixing it.
Okay.
So what is your vision for establishing a museum to honor the history and cultural influence of comedians?
Well, what we want to do, we want to have a big museum built. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, what we want to put in the museum. You remember the character that Jim Carrey played on In Living Color, Fire Marshal Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a replica of him in the museum. You remember there was a guy that Damon Wayans played where he was a philosopher in jail and he would be philosophizing with this white woman while he was locked up in jail. That was a skit that they used to do.
Yes.
We would have a replica of that. And another one would be the Arsenio Hall show when Arsenio would come out and do his whoop, whoop, whoop with the arm twisting, with the fist pumping.
Gotcha.
We would want to put something like that in the museum. Not only that, we would have film clips of some of these old people that I was talking about and some of the shows, clips from the Flip Wilson show, clips from Room 227 with Marla Gibbs, clips from when Bill Cosby was doing his comedic show, flips from In Living Color, you know,
Mm-hmm.
a big auditorium that would hold 200 people so we can invite people down and have special guests come, like special comedians come and do a concert in that particular museum, you know. So we want it to be all encompassing. The Truck. Have you ever seen the little sitcom called Sanford and Son with Red Fox?
Oh yeah, how could you not?
He had a red truck, a red pickup truck parked in front of his junkyard, like a replica of that truck in the museum. You know,
oh,
things like that would go into the museum.
yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I think that is something that is, for one, well deserved
yeah,
of the culture, that we built, and two, I don't. I mean, even these comedians that's rich, like Kevin Hart
yes,
and places like that, you would think that they would invest into that and say, you know what, we
we
need a
need that.
museum for black comedians. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I mean, some people, like I said, they're sold out to certain people, so they may not be able to do things like that.
I'm going to give you a piece of trivia that I want you to look up if you get a chance.
Okay.
There was a TV show that was on called Living Single. You remember that show? It started a lady named Khadijah, which was Queen Latifah, Kim Coles, and another black actress, two other black actresses. It starred a guy by the name of doggone it, I see his face clear as day. But he played the handyman on that show called Overton. Anyway, the show was called Living Single. It was about 4 black women living in an apartment together. 3 of them lived in an apartment together. One of them was a lawyer. One of them was a designer. The other one worked for Khadijah, was a magazine owner. Mm-hmm. And the 2 black guys on the show, one, I think he was a lawyer or something like that. And the other one was a handyman for the building that they lived in. Okay. That show was so popular that another white show on another channel was patterned after that show. And it was called Sex in the City, or it was Sex in the City or something else. It wasn't Sex in the City. It was called something. Friends. It was called Friends. A TV show called Friends.
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever heard of that show?
I have.
Okay. That particular show, Friends, was patterned off of Living Single, which Living Single started out first and was doing good, extremely good. But the black actors on that Living Single show was not getting paid the same kind of money that the white actresses was getting paid on Friends, by a substantial amount. And once again, we created something, white people copied it, and they cashed in on it.
Yep. And I just me, while you're talking, I went ahead and pulled it up. I do remember seeing this. I don't remember watching the show, but I remember the cover art of this show. I remember seeing it has Queen Latifah and then the other lady and the guy. I remember seeing this somewhere. I just can't put my finger on it. But just looking at what you were talking about, so that actually came out in 93 and Friends came out in 94. So the next year after.
They copied that show.
That's crazy.
They copied it. Damn sure did. So, like I say, we are a badass people. If we came together, the powers that be know that we would be a force to be reckoned with. And that's the reason why they keep us separated. When you think about music, for example, the music that our kids and that your kids are going to be listening to, just to give you an example, there's a lady named Katy Perry, white lady, hellacious singer, hellacious performer. I don't have a problem with her. There's another lady, Taylor Swift, hellacious singer, okay, very popular, very well known, sell a lot of records. When you see them on their videos, they are not dressed in provocative outfits to sell their music.
Correct.
They are not using derogatory terms to sell their music. They're not talking about their vaginas and their bum holes. Now flip the other side and look at our black stars. Everybody is dressed in stuff that leave nothing for your imagination if they are females.
Yep.
They're all on TV bending over, shaking their butts, twerking, and dressed in dental floss. Shall I put it like that? Okay.
Yeah.
There's one sister out there that became popular by singing about her bum hole.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right. To sell records.
Yep.
Now, do you see the depths that they want us to go to sell to our children and what they want us to put in our children's head as opposed to a Katy Perry or a Taylor Swift? You don't see them white girls out there doing that.
Nope.
But when you look at us, in order for us to be popular, our girls got to have dental floss on, or we can't sell a record. And we know better than that, because you can look at a Queen Latifah. You can look at a Gladys Knight. You can look at a Phyllis Hyman. Okay? You can look at all these fans. Mary J. Blige is kind of on the verge there, because I've seen her in some dental floss stuff almost too. But you can look at these individual singers and see they didn't have to do that to sell records. It's about your talent. It's not about your provocativeness. And that's where we are. Yep. And see, we got to do the same thing with our comedians.
Yep. I definitely agree. So, before we get out of here, I wanted to ask you one last thing. So what legacy do you hope that the AAhAs will leave for future generations?
I'm hoping that our legacy will rest on these 3 words: pride, dignity, and respect. Because if you don't have those 3 things, anybody can tell you anything about you and your past, and you won't know whether they're telling you the truth or whether they're not. Because you didn't take pride in what you did. You didn't you didn't have the dignity to realize who you were, and you damn sure gave no respect to yourself nor people that look like you.
Yep.
So you were just thrown away. And that is what I want people to think about when they think about the AAhAs. The African American Humor Awards. That's what we are about. Pride, dignity, and respect. One other thing I got to say.
Okay.
I have only one pet peeve about Black comedians, and that is this. It's okay to use the N-word in certain situations because it can be funny. But I want these Black comedians to think about. I remember a singer by the name of James Brown. He had a song out called "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud." I remember he made a song called "Let Me in the Door, I Can Get It Myself." Just open the door. I'll get it myself. All right. We are the only people that can take a word that was put upon us to degrade us by the N-word, that to degrade us as a people. And we turn around and tell each other, we're going to take the power of that word back by calling each other the N-word in private as well as in public. Now, I don't mind you calling me that when we are among family, company, people that look like me. But when you out there saying that in front of everybody, you cannot take the power of that word away. Until you start seeing Asian people calling each other chinks and tight eyes. Until you see white men calling each other crackers. Until you see Arabs calling each other sand ends to each other in public, is when I can excuse you calling me that word or referring to that word in public. Until then, we need to cut down on the use of that word. Let's go back to calling each other brothers, or man, or mister, or sir even. Let's go back to that.
Yes, sir.
It's
So
called pride, dignity, and respect.
that's right. That's right.
PDR.
PDR. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time out. I know you're a busy man on a busy schedule.
Absolutely.
So I definitely appreciate you taking the time out to come and talk about the AAhAs. I feel like it's something that definitely needs to be promoted more. Um, like I said, I'll definitely be, doing some research myself, going and, checking out the website, buying some merch once it's available, and so on and so forth. And then I'm gonna push it out to all the people that I know as well, and try to get them more aware of it. And then hopefully they go out there and tell one or two people, and we can keep trickling and keep going. And you can start seeing it grow to where it really should be by now.
Absolutely. Well,
Um,
our website is the ahas.com, or you can go to itstheahas.com. It's the ahas, all one word. And you can go to Amazon Prime and pull up Laughter Has No Color. And that's a documentary on the president and founder. And I want to give a shout out to my two staunch supporters and partners, and that is Miss Tricia Voorhees, as well as Miss Voorhees, Mitzi Voorhees. Those two women have been with me for 30 years, and we keep pulling the AAhAs and making it stronger. So I want to thank you, my brother, for having me on, and you continue doing what you're doing and getting the word out there. And don't stop doing it, because what you're doing, man, you're using your platform to enlighten people about history concerning us. Good thing.
Yes, sir. I definitely plan to keep it going, and I definitely appreciate it of people like yourself taking the time out to come and have a little chat with me, and also teach me a little something. I'm always open to learning things. You know what I mean? So,
All right.
But
well, from one Alabamian to another Alabamian, my brother, laughter has no color, so keep smiling. Less muscles to use with a smile.
Yes,
have
sir.
a good day, my brother.
Yes, sir. You do the same. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You just watched another episode of All in All with Alex, and we'll see you